We'll see where it. Thank you. So all the audience missed the fact that I'm going to change the talk based on the song. There we go. And they won't have heard the song. So there you go. They won't even know, will they? The topic for today from Centers for Spiritual Living in this month, where we're talking about love out loud, is love thy neighbor. Now that's original, right? We've heard it before. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Right. Melody Beattie said in Codependent No More, love thy neighbor as thyself. The problem is sometimes is that we do just that. Many of us wouldn't dream of loving or treating other people the way we treat ourselves. We should love ourselves first, and then love those others. Allow that love to come out of us first. Okay, that's the important, serious part of this. Shortly after a couple moved into their new home, the wife looked out through the window into the backyard of the house next door, minding her own business, of course. And she saw the neighbor hanging out the laundry to dry and said, look at their dirty linen. She told her husband, our neighbor obviously is not using the right laundry detergent, or she just doesn't know what she's doing, or maybe she's got the kids doing the laundry. I don't know. And thereafter, every time the neighbor hung out the laundry, the woman complained about the dirty laundry hanging on the line. One morning, she looked out the window and exclaimed, oh my gosh, the neighbor finally got it right. Her laundry is so clean. And her husband said, nope, I just washed our windows. Are we quick to judge that everybody else's laundry is dirty? Or are we ones to jump up and go, oh, I need to clean my windows first? Okay. Peace in the world starts with us. To truly create a world that works best for everyone, we have to ensure that everyone's voice is included. We must make space in our lives and our communities for people who think differently than we do. When we surround ourselves with people of all ages, all races, all sexual orientations, political affirmations, spiritual beliefs, cultural backgrounds, and life experiences, we expand our own understanding of love. Living by example and loving each other, regardless of our differences, is a beautiful way to create a peaceful world that works for everybody. We're talking about love out loud. I think when they say love out loud, they're not meaning that you go, oh, I love you, or making noises like we would hear in the bedroom. That's not what we're talking about love out loud. What we're talking about love out loud is doing it in a way that everybody can see it, where it's obvious that we are loving out loud. Science Mind points out that everything that happens to us happens for us. Any experience of perceived betrayal is actually love in action, inspiring us to shift. Those dirty windows inspired him, and probably got tired of her complaining about the laundry, to clean the windows. But it was a shift in perception there. Ernest Holmes wrote, a constant realization of the presence of spirit will provide a sense of divine companionship that no other attitude could produce. One more time, a constant realization of the presence of spirit will provide a sense of divine companionship that no other attitude can produce. The presence of the divine is always within us, always. And when we live consciously and aware that everyone around us is a divine expression of the one, we can appreciate the spiritual life that we are experiencing every day. The first point, loving each other means accepting people for who they are. So imagine walking along a sidewalk with your arms full of groceries, and somebody roughly bumps into you so that you fall, and the groceries tumble all over everywhere, and they're strewn all over the ground, and rise up from the puddle of broken eggs and tomato juice, and you're just about ready to shout, "You idiot, what are you, blind or something?" when you realize that, in fact, the person who bumped into you is blind. He too is sprawled in the groceries. And your anger vanishes in an instant to be replaced with sympathetic concern. Are you hurt? Can I help you? Our situation is like that. When we clearly realize that the source of disharmony and misery in the world is ignorance, because we didn't know the windows were dirty, or because we didn't realize that someone that can't see bumped into us or was coming. When we realize that the source of disharmony and misery in the world is ignorance, we can open the door to wisdom and compassion. Love thy neighbor. Love thy immigrant neighbor. Love thy Black neighbor. Love thy atheist neighbor. Love thy Muslim neighbor. Love thy depressed neighbor. Love thy conservative neighbor. Love thy liberal neighbor. Love thy LGBTQ and whatever pluses out there go after that nowadays. Those neighbors too. Love the disabled neighbor. Love the incarcerated neighbor. Love thy addicted neighbor. Love thy veteran neighbor. Can you think of any neighbors that I have forgotten? Love them too. Love thy neighbor. We can be kind to all of our neighbors. A man came across a homeless woman outside of Taco Bell. She told him she was hungry. So he invited her to come in with him to the Taco Bell, and he would buy her whatever she wanted to eat. She asked if he could buy a little extra so that she could take it back to the shelter. So he bought her 50 tacos. And then the manager of the Taco Bell heard what was going on from the people, staff that were making the 50 tacos, and he matched it. So 100 tacos went to the shelter. Research shows that when patients are treated with kindness, wounds heal faster. Pain is reduced. Anxiety is reduced. Blood pressure is lowered. And hospital stays are shortened. So when we act with kindness, we're helping all of those factors and maybe even helping to eliminate a hospital stay somewhere. Be kind. Point number 2. All historical shifts toward human rights began with people advocating for each other. People advocating for women's rights. People of all races participated in the 1960s civil rights movement to abdicate Jim Crow laws in the southern United States. Today, there are lots of nonprofit organizations around the world who are working to rescue enslaved people, those people who are entrapped in human trafficking. If we desire to see more love in the communities around us, we have the opportunity to lead that shift. We have the opportunity to wash the windows, so to speak. We can support marginalized people within our own communities. Consciously engaging in self-healing work, starts with me, love yourself first, demonstrates our commitment to support people of different identities. Actively supporting organizations performing human rights work leads to change in our world. I have a couple of examples. 3, I think. The master falconer, Rodney Stotts, mentors young people on the streets and in schools, parks, and jails of Washington, D.C., showing how the care of injured birds offers second chances for the birds of prey and for the marginalized youth who have been similarly injured. Said one young man, "I was a bird with a broken wing, and Rodney showed me that it's okay to trust and to allow strangers to help me heal." One person. When word got out that B. Hayes, an 18-year-old student at Nashville Christian School, was banned from going to their prom because they wore a suit and not a dress, the local community stepped up to organize another prom. "I greatly appreciate the support from my community," Hayes said, "and I want others who have experienced similar situations to know that they are not alone. There are people in this world who will stand with you." And we all know that in cases of natural disaster, communities are known to come together and support one another. People from the fire that completely decimated Paradise, California, are helping the people in Maui recover from the fire that was there. A tsunami in Asia inspires people all around the world to provide financial contributions and support. When a tornado in Oklahoma destroys a town, we all know everybody gets involved, and particularly in the town, to help the people that have been through the tornado. Hospitals around the world are stocked with blood of donors provided for those that are in need when there's a big thing going on in the world. We need each other to survive. Throughout human history, people have demonstrated kindness and compassion towards one another. Take a breath. Point number 3, practicing radical forgiveness. Oh my gosh, she's got that F word in here. Forgiveness, radical forgiveness, allows for a deeper experience of love. Forgiving does not mean forgetting. We're not expected to maintain relationships with people we do not want to have in our lives. Forgiveness is about letting go of the resentment and trusting that the challenging experience was a divine appointment that allowed for growth of all the people involved. A forgiveness practice can look different for everyone. In the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, A Simple Guide to Unlimited Abundance by Edwene Gaines, she shares the practice of writing, "I forgive whoever for whatever," and it's biblical, 70 times 7. So you write it 70 times out on a piece of paper, longhand, not typed on the computer. Sorry, Brad, longhand. "I forgive Sally for cutting me off in line at the grocery store." Or "I forgive that wonderful ex-partner of mine for whatever he or she did." I forgive, I forgive, I forgive 70 times. And then do that for 77 days, 70 times 7. And don't forget to do another set for forgiving yourself for not seeing the situation and avoiding it in the first place, for not seeing the situation and shifting as it came up. I forgive myself for allowing blah, 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 blah. I forgive myself for allowing blah, 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 blah. 70 times 7. trust me on this one, after you have written what you forgive 70 times for 7 days, you will feel differently about it. I have a whole notebook full of 70 times 7 sets of things. I would do one set. If I felt okay with it at the end of that, I would go on to the next, usually forgiving myself for whatever the situation was. And then after that, oh, okay, I feel better about that. Now what? And I could find some other situation. After a while, there doesn't seem to be that many things to forgive anymore. I see them differently when they're happening. There was a hospital for the criminally insane in Hawaii. Dr. Suellen was hired as a director of the hospital. He didn't see any of the patients. What he did was look at their folders and healed himself using the Ho'oponopono process. The Ho'oponopono prayer is a Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness. According to Ho'oponopono, everything that's in your reality is perceived as something that's perceived by your mind. So all of the people in the criminally insane hospital, because he was in the hospital with them, were his responsibility because he had it in his mind. So if he could change his mind, this is science of mind at the root, guys. If he could change how he thought about those people in all of those cells that the medical people were afraid to go around, he could change his mind about that. They could and did heal. So if your mind can have problematic thoughts, it can create insecurities. It also can solve them. The Ho'oponopono technique is repeating 4 sentiments that can give you full control over your life. The first is, I'm sorry. Saying you're sorry, admitting responsibility as a part of the healing in Ho'oponopono. I'm responsible for anything that's ever happened to me or anything that's happened in the world that I have witnessed. The first step is accepting the fact that all of those wrong things started within me. All of them. I'm sorry. I am absolutely sorry for whatever it is I did in my life that created this situation. I'm sorry. Number 2, forgive me. Please forgive me is a form of asking an apology from the universe. It doesn't matter whether you were wronged or not. It is a cleansing method that removes negativity. Asking for forgiveness is a healing method in Ho'oponopono that helps you move on in your life. I'm sorry for whatever I did. Please forgive me for whatever I did, whatever my part was. Thank you is step number 3. Keep saying thank you repetitively. Gratitude towards the universe is an important part of the healing process in Ho'oponopono. Saying thank you for all the forgiveness. Thank you for all the change within you. Thanks for everything that's going on. Thanks to yourself for being who you are. Gratitude is a powerful emotion and must be said again and again and again to bring in the fresh air of positivity. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you. I love you is step number 4. Say I love you to yourself, to God, to your body, to the sheltering house you live in, to your surroundings, to the people in the audience. Thank you. Love is a powerful emotion, and it comes with layers of warmth and security. Giving love is a caring and affectionate emotion that accelerates the healing process in Ho'oponopono. There's a story, I'm getting to the conclusion part here. There's a story of a man driving down a dangerous hairpin mountain curve, and a woman in a little red sports car with top down tore around the bend from the opposite direction, nearly forcing him off the road, and shouting at him, "Pig!" Furious, the man shook his fist at her and shouted, "Sow? Cow?" Well, you bet it was probably bitch. And he kept going around the curve, and there he saw a pig sitting in the middle of the road. Sometimes what looks as something negative, like she was calling him names, was not the case. She was just giving him a warning. There's a pig in the road. All she had time to say was pig, and he took it the wrong way. Alan Cohen told of attending a lecture by Ram Dass. And when Dass announced that several people in the audience needed rides to a nearby city, and no one raised their hand to give assistance. So Dass added, and the person that you could take in your car might be the Christ or the Buddha in disguise. And immediately, a dozen hands shot up. Change in perception. And we don't know. Which reminds me of a story that my husband, David, used to tell of a small monastery in a forest that wasn't doing so well. There were only 7 monks left, and it had been many years since any young man had asked to join them. The monks kept busy, growing their own food, selling honey from their bees, keeping the chapel and the monastery spotless, and of course, praying to God for guidance. Fewer and fewer people came to the chapel in the forest to worship or to buy their meager goods. One day, Brother John's prayers led him to decide to visit an old friend, the abbey, the rabbi from the village, not the abbey. The abbey's a building. The rabbi from the nearby village. Brother John left the forest, journeyed to the village. The rabbi and Brother John, they talked for hours. And at last, Brother John was ready to go back to the monastery. And as the two were parting, the rabbi remarked that it must be wonderful working at the chapel with the Messiah. Brother John queried the rabbi, but the rabbi said he didn't know who the Messiah was, only that he was there. Well, Brother John thought about that all the way back to the monastery, and he called all of the monks together as soon as he arrived and told them of his visit to the rabbi and the rabbi's last words. As you can imagine, that night there was not much sleep in the monastery, because they were all wondering who the rabbi might be, who the Messiah might be. Was it Brother John, who tried to look after them, look after everyone? Well, it couldn't be Brother Paul, who only insisted on growing things. Well, his flowers were the most beautiful, and his plants were the healthiest. He had a way with growing things. Maybe it could be Brother Paul. Was it Brother James, who baked the best bread? And so on through the list. And then each one asked, what if it's me? No one stood out as the obvious one, and arguments could be found for each. The next day, each monk treated every other brother as if he were the Messiah, because of course, he might be, and we in Science of Mind know that he is. And so the days went. Soon a few people came to the chapel, and then a few more. A young man asked to join the order, and then another. And the chapel in the forest became known for its love and its beauty. And then everyone who came there for whatever reason was treated as if he were the Messiah. What if we, each one of us, were to treat everyone as if they were the Messiah? All of those neighbors that we're here to love, including ourselves. Because of course we know that they are the Messiah. God is right where we are, in and through and as us. And we need to remember to cultivate the ability to say thank you for absolutely everything, because it is a gift. Everything is a gift. Even those things that look like challenges, those are gifts. What a wonderful life we have. So let us take that into prayer. I stop and take a breath because I recognize that there is only God. And when I stop and breathe, I can feel it. The power of God moves through me, in through me, as me, always. That power that is God is so powerful. It's moving the stars and the skies and the planets around. It's in and through and as every leaf, every animal, every insect, every germ, every cell. God is all there is. And that power that is God is moving through me in this moment. And as it's moving through me, I am open and receptive to that message that is God. My life is the gift that I give to the world. And right now I give it as love. I give it as love to everybody that I see, everyone I meet, everyone I think of, every situation that I see. And when it's not a happy situation, I can pray. I do pray. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. God is in and through and as me in this moment. And I know that if this is true for me, it's true for everybody in this room and everybody watching this video online today, tomorrow, or whenever they see it. God is right here, right now, right, full of love. And so I am so grateful to release this prayer into the law that only says yes to my word. And we affirm it together by saying, and so it is.